There we go. Well, we are being recorded, just nobody can see us now.
Okay.
Unless I... There we go. We'll turn it over to that for a sec. We're waiting for my phone to cool off. So, this is our new pre-show podcast. I basically just said in the description of the tier list video, like, that might as well be a podcast we did. So, nope. Still not working. I guess worst case scenario, I can use this. I just change the angle a little bit, but I don't want to. So,
yeah, we're good. So, what seems to be the problem?
So, I don't know how to explain this. I guess my phone is so old and I use it so much that sometimes if I use it and then I lock the screen, it just does that instead of loading the actual screen. I don't know. You can barely see it on the webcam there. So, what I need to do is wait for the phone to cool down, and then it will calm down, and it should eventually load the actual lock screen properly.
You want to put it in the refrigerator?
I don't know. It should just take a minute. It's very tedious. So now I've learned to, if I'm doing something and I know I'm going to need my phone again in a minute or so, I just don't turn it off and I just leave it on and take it somewhere else. I thought, because I had just had this on for a couple minutes and I turned it off, I thought there was enough time between when I locked it to when we would start this video. So, it's a problem. It's also one of the major reasons why don't record with your phone. Go buy an actual camera somewhere.
And it wouldn't come back on if you plugged it in?
No, it would do the same thing. So, this is going to be a minute. I'm going to wait till that clock hits 1:08 and hope that works. So, in the meantime, we're just going to sit here and...
Down at the bottom, he'll put time passes slowly.
Well... Oh, this would be in the video anyway, so you got anything you need to talk about to the people?
No. I'm getting some time off. Your mom, of course, is directing the next show at the theater that we now run. We are putting together plans for our vacation in July. We'll be taking a week in July, heading out to the New Mexico highlands. Not the northern highlands, which is what most people think of, but down in the south. There's a little town there called Ruidoso. Have a racetrack and casino there and several Wild West museums, that sort of thing. And we'll be stopping by Roswell, New Mexico to see the UFO museum. We went by there about 15, 20 years ago. Alex was very young. But leaving on Monday, coming back on Saturday, I think. Maybe Sunday. I don't know. We'll see. I just posted Logopolis on my Facebook page, and you haven't said much about the reaction to our tier list.
I haven't heard anything. So, because that just went up about an hour ago onto Patreon, so I haven't heard anything. I haven't heard anything about the... Oh, hold up. It works. All right. Well, we'll keep talking while I set this up. I haven't heard anything yet. I haven't heard anything about the length. If somebody started right when the video was released onto Patreon, they should still be watching it for the next about 50 minutes.
Yikes.
It's an hour and 58 minutes long.
Is that our longest one yet?
Yep. Might be the longest video on my channel. Alright, I'm going to start the camera recording on here in 3, 2, 1, now. Good. This is kind of backwards of how I normally set up these recordings, so...
We look very dark today.
I mean, I'd keep my brightness, like, at 20% sometimes, so... we're, at the very least, we're a bit more... Maybe I'll just put these two videos back to back, because we look very bright and colorful on the camera, at least, so... Let me sync this up. This will be great. 3, 2, 1. 3, 2, 1. Now let me go ahead and set up the notes. Doctor Who Classic 19X1. There we go. There's a spot. All right. Let me swap that back over here. Hey guys, it's Alex and Dad from 7th Hour Films back again with Doctor Who Classic. Last time around, we did the tier list, which we just talked about, which was an interesting experience. I don't know how much of what we just recorded is actually going to be at the top of this video, but some of it. I'm sure some of it. But yeah, we did the tier list. That was a lot of fun. It was a nightmare to edit because I just kept doing... I forgot to set the focus on the camera. 1 second. There we go. Now the image won't be pulsating trying to get a better focus. Okay. We're all good. All good now. How are you? So yeah, we had the tier list. It was a lot of fun, even though I'm complaining about how hard it was to edit. Obviously, most of that is my own fault, just for how I wanted to structure the video and how I wanted to implement, like, because you haven't seen the tier list yet, but pretty much every time I introduce is like, and now we get to this one, the Leisure Hive. It will cut to a clip from that reaction, which means I had to get a clip from every single reaction we did and then intercut it and make it look fancy, and it took too long. The good news is, when you have clips from 48 different episodes, YouTube can't copyright any of them because there's just too many. So that worked out. But anyway, yeah, so... but overall, the tier list was good fun.
I was amazed at the bell curve.
Yeah.
We had like 3 or 4 that we thought were the absolute best. There were 3 that we thought were the absolute worst. And then in between, there were good, mediocre, and average.
Yeah, so...
Although mediocre and average, same thing. But yeah, somewhat below average. So it was just, again, kind of interesting. The huge bulk of them were interesting. Only a few of them that were just passable. We went, we've seen better, but we've seen worse. And then, we've had discussions about the ones that we just thought were horrible, just absolutely awful.
Yeah, so I'm sure that because, at time of recording this, it's only been up for about an hour or so, I'm sure there's a fire brewing on Patreon right now, and in a week there will be a fire, a great engulfing fire in the YouTube comments.
Yeah.
But
erupting volcano of commentary.
Yes, but just as a reminder, we do appreciate every single one of those comments because they're really good for the algorithm. So, anywho, we're moving on to the beginning of season 19, the first episode with the 5th Doctor, Castrovalva, which is an interesting, honestly, just like kind of going hand in hand with Logopolis of like, there's a word. Let's go with that. But we've seen a couple 5th Doctor episodes. 2 of them, and they both happen to be in this season as well.
Oh.
So yeah. Coming up in 2 episodes will be our first rewatch of the 5th Doctor, and it's who is going to be an interesting one, surely.
Oh.
And then the end of the season will be the second rewatch for the 5th Doctor, and that'll be a lot better. So we'll leave that as it is. And yeah, I don't know. I'm. This is sort of now, I feel like, the era where it's like, okay, we're kind of out of the classic Doctor Who that we knew, that we got used to. Like this, I feel like now, and I could be completely wrong, this feels like, okay, now we're into, it's weird to say, modern classic Doctor Who. So it's, I don't know.
Yeah.
But we'll see. We'll see. We'll at least enjoy it. This is the first episode of the season, so if you want to go watch the full unedited reaction to this episode, this serial, all 4 episodes of classic Doctor Who, you can do that. It's in the description. It's completely free. Just sync up your copy of this episode to our footage. We're watching this on BritBox through Amazon Prime. So you might have a BritBox subscription, or if you just sort of Google Classic Doctor Who Season 19, Episode 1, you'll probably find it on Daily Motion, but you didn't hear that from me. So yeah, you can do that, or not, if you just want to watch the edited video, which sometimes for these episodes, I'm like, I don't know if you want to watch the full reaction to this, but you can. Anywho. But yeah, the 5th Doctor, the insert descriptor of this Doctor here. I don't know.
The young cricketer, is that what they call them? It's been a while.
Yeah. Honestly, this may be one of the Doctors I have the least opinion on.
The one thing I was just telling Alex, and I can't remember if I said it before we started recording, I said, is this the guy that always wears the celery in his lapel? And apparently he is.
Yes. So we've got the Celery man with his cricket outfit and his question marks and his roll-up hat. So yeah, and our 3 companions, Adric, Nyssa, and Tegan, one of which we just got in the last episode. So, do you got anything else?
I got nothing.
Then why don't we jump right into Castrovalva? Well, here we go.
Yeah.
Oh man, it just didn't even start with the intro yet. You never get a cold open in Doctor Who. I mean, in this era. I remember someone pointed out they had to do a lot of reruns between last episode and this because they were worried Tom Baker was on so long. Nobody's going to remember that the Doctor regenerates.
Christopher Bidme, didn't he write Logopolis?
Might have.
These are secure premises. Now you lot have got some explaining to do.
But the Doctor...
He'll be taken care of.
So, is Davison's hair lighter than it was in the last scene?
I don't know.
You see that I come from somewhere up there. That is the way to space.
Adric, quick!
Good job, you just forgot Adric, though.
This works the door. That's all I know about these controls.
We can't take off without Adric. Doctor, where's he off to now?
I know everyone would like you to leave without Adric.
Well, you better go and talk to him, because I don't understand this scientific stuff. He's looking for something called a zero room.
Zero room? I'll go.
Why do we suspect Adric is under influence?
Yeah.
Never even said.
Oh,
No, the scarf.
sacrilege.
Ah, you've come to help me find the Zero Room. Welcome aboard. I'm the Doctor. Or will be if this regeneration works out.
To be fair, it's not the iconic scarf.
I suppose it's some sort of neutral environment. An isolated space cut off from the rest of the universe.
He should have told me that's what he wanted. I could have shown him Brisbane.
Ooh, totally burned.
My dad used to say that if was the most powerful word in the English language.
It's also a poem by Rudyard Kipling. And a very good one, too.
We've wandered into the wrong corridor. We must be close to the main TARDIS drive now. Jamie, you go back.
No, I have to stay with you, Doctor.
No nonsense, be sensible, go back.
To be fair, he looks a lot like Jamie.
Run! Adric!
Ah, that's convenient.
That's the trouble with regeneration.
You never quite know what you're going to get.
Meh.
Regeneration is like a box of chocolates.
Meh.
Dear me. Needs a drop of linseed oil, though.
That's not a cricket bat. It's not wide enough. I mean, it may be, but it doesn't look like any that I've ever seen.
Remember when he jettisoned Romana's room? Why not get rid of a room like that?
Must be a cricket bat.
Huh.
I thought they were wider than that.
At least you can beat someone with it.
We're heading straight into the biggest explosion in history.
Well, that's quite the trap, I must say.
Farewell, my friends. Farewell forever.
Alrighty. Well, that's a creative way of killing them. Assuming that would... I mean, it has to be something big enough to destroy the TARDIS. I guess that would do it, so... Okay. Well, that's part one, which I also realized that this is the first time that they've actually credited the main actor as the Doctor instead of as Doctor Who. So, I don't know why it took them 19 years to do that, but they finally did it, so... And as a part one, it's alright.
Yeah. Now, the thing about it is, like what they did with Tom Baker, they have immediately started putting together his new personality. Whereas, and I've said this before, it took a long time for Patrick Troughton to establish his, in our opinion. Less so with
Pertwee.
John Pertwee. So I like the idea that you kind of see glimpses of the old Doctor, the Fourth Doctor, and yet you can see him trying to become himself.
Yeah. Definitely once he got to the Zero Room, he felt more like the normal Fifth Doctor that we see later. So, yeah, and of course, you know, there's always this sort of time where it's like, well, they're kind of weird, you know, things are a little shaky and you try to figure some things out, but overall, it is still working. So, and yeah, and he's probably still doing better than Pertwee, because Pertwee was knocked out most of his first episode.
Yeah.
And
now, this is also interesting. I'm wondering if they're doing this alphabetically because Tegan, who is the newest companion, is listed first. I'm wondering if it's also maybe they're doing it in order of appearance in this episode.
maybe.
Could be.
Maybe. Oh, yeah. So, now, one thing I also noticed, I don't know if this is true. Someone can tell me it's not true, but at least what it says here on Amazon is that these first two, and I'm assuming the next... Okay. These first two were aired only just a day apart. So part 1 was January 3rd, and part 2 is January 4th. So that could help a little bit.
And I seem to recall, I was reading something just recently because we were switching over, that they said this was the first season where it wasn't shown on Saturday night, or whatever the normal time was.
Yeah.
That they started doing it 2 nights in a row.
Yes, so...
Kind of like the Batman series was back in the 60s.
Yeah, so part 3 and part 4 are the next week, but they're January 10th and January 11th.
Yeah.
So that at least would help. You know, you don't have to wait a week to go straight to the next episode.
Yeah.
So that's convenient.
Delight. This
This will be simpler, of course, if you go into hover mode first.
Always remembering, of course, not to reverse the polarity of the neutron
Oh no.
flow.
Reverse the polarity.
One.
So, this petty feud with the Doctor is over, Adric. You were wise to join me.
You've got to keep your side of the bargain.
And back up we go.
Or down he comes.
But are you truly sincere? I say.
It's harder to fly than you think. I mean, you don't just flick a switch.
Castrovalva, here we come. Please.
So, this air hostess person's flying it, eh? Well, I wish her the best of luck.
We've made it.
Well done, Nissa. That's the idea. We make another zero room out of what's left.
Another happy landing.
Anyone you can walk away from.
CIA standard. A landing's a landing.
Ah, it's a zero coffin.
Looks very small, Doctor.
And unlike the TARDIS, it is very small.
Well done, Doctor.
That's not precarious.
He's gone. The Doctor's gone.
Alrighty.
Kind of slow. But
Yeah.
again, they're making the point that, you know, it's taking a while to get him regenerated and yada, yada, yada. And we're enjoying the scenery in the countryside there.
Well, I mean, yeah, it's basically just, you know, moving pieces into whatever the rest of the plot is going to be. I mean, now it's kind of down to the master to do something else, basically. So...
Find the Doctor.
Wow, that
Until he's
worked.
properly regenerated, he's terribly vulnerable.
They were completely surrounded and they got away.
The heath is like that. You duck down in it and literally nobody can see you.
Doctor. Everyone's looking for him.
I wonder if the Doctor has a fear of heights now.
Once again.
They move like Ewoks.
But their helmets are sized for Hey Arnold.
Who are you, stranger?
There's nobody stranger than me.
I trust, Burgrave, you brought us something more edible than this lifeless unfortunate.
For a second I thought that was going to be the master.
Yes, the place to rest.
Yes, and rest you shall, sir. Some refreshment, and then we must show you to your quarters.
Oh, they're actually like super nice.
Definitely civilization.
Here, let me just stick this in my lapel.
As a souvenir. It'll never rot.
I understand your natural puzzlement in the matter of our outdoor gardens, sir. Murgrave has devised a new religion he calls exercise.
In pursuit
Sounds
of
dreadful.
which belief, he drives us to hunt animals in the wild beyond the walls.
He reads thoroughly the books I merely rearrange. I'm sorry you will not dine with us tonight, but sleep. The meat served cold tomorrow will taste the better for it.
Good night, sir.
Good night.
Yes, good night.
Portreeve, I think, derives from the medieval Shire Reeve, who's literally the men who controlled the county, and it's where we get our word sheriff.
Hmm.
You'll very soon find the doctor. You overheard? I know these things. Oh? By the simplest of means. When you visit breakfast with me tomorrow, you shall see the source of what my friends are pleased to call my great wisdom. Now, sir, sleep. Yes, it has been a long journey. Tell me, Portreeve, off the record, will I find the doctor here? Oh, yes, doctor, very soon. Good. Good night, doctor. Good night. I fear we must be a little dull after the habitual excitements you describe. Oh, the Ogrons and the Daleks and that. No, I think it does us good to be reminded the universe isn't entirely peopled with nasty creatures out for themselves.
The volumes you asked for...
When was the last time we saw the Ogrons and the Daleks? That's a weird one to bring up.
Second or early third Doctor.
Well...
Whoever did this certainly has a way with needle and thread. Remarkable, isn't it? This device you mentioned...
Isn't that him?
Stands before you, Doctor. I've returned it to its state of yesterday.
You mean, is that...
The Master?
The Master? Yeah, we both noticed that at the exact same time.
3, sir, is what comes after 2.
Do you know, that's exactly what I thought.
And then 4, and then 5, and then 6, and then 7.
Stop, please! You're making me dizzy. We'll have to give you a badge for mathematical excellence. Adric.
Yes, he remembered how dumb that sounded.
We want to get outside the
Well, we'll just have to hope, won't we? Which is the quickest way out of here? Yes, well, that's democracy for you. Come on.
That wretched square again. Doctor, what's happening?
Shush. Concentrate. This could be serious.
Does this space have been...
You think J.K. Rowling borrowed this for the Hogwarts school where all the things change?
Recursive occlusion. Someone's manipulating Castrovalva. We're caught in a space-time trap.
Okay. Well, it picked up a bit at least.
The Rubik's Cube of a city.
Well, it's weird that we both noticed at the same time that Portreeve is clearly the Master. I don't know. Maybe it was the hat that kept disguising him.
And they never
earlier.
really showed his face. He was always, slightly turned or what. But yeah, if you see him full on, and that has to be him.
Once you see the slicked back hair, you can definitely see it. So, hopefully, I mean,
play this through and see who is listed as the Portreeve. Neil Toynay.
Maybe the reason is there used to be an actual Portreeve, and just in that scene, the Master took over.
Yeah.
So, I don't know.
The library. The square. Portreeve's house. Now, where's your pharmacy?
Up here, sir. Down here. And round here. And along here also.
Show us on the map.
This is the Portreeve's house. Along here, down there. Round there.
The doctor has been explaining to me. I almost grasp it.
There is something amiss with the map.
There is something amiss with Castrovalva, but because your perception is part of it, you cannot see it.
I am a rational man, sir. Explain this interesting idea.
Yes, well, I'm afraid that would take some doing.
To the cabinet.
Yes, in a minute.
Show them a Mobius strip.
Books like this.
For the final meeting of the Doctor with his master.
I'm shocked.
Open this for me!
Don't you understand anything about zero structures? The internal interfaces are bonded by strong force interaction. The surfaces can only be separated from inside the cabinet.
Don't try to make a fool of me.
It'll open eventually. It's just plywood.
A trick! The Doctor's here!
Are you sure of that, Master?
enough of your deceptions? Where are you?
Wait,
I'll fix you up wherever
it's actually an incredible brittle case.
Shadowman, get back! Don't touch the web, it's holding Castrovalva in balance. You do not have the will!
You made us man of evil, but we are free.
My will! My will!
Well, good job.
Shadowman?
He gave his life to help us.
The master's escaped.
So must we. Without the web to support it, local space will fold up into itself. Come on!
Oh no, it's a bad Atari game.
This is the way.
This is the way. Alright then. And I'm sure we'll never see him again.
Deep breaths. Well done, Adric.
Oh, why couldn't we just walk?
Gotta be fit to crew the TARDIS. Trim time ship and a ship-shaped team.
Oh, he's got the celery now.
Who landed this?
I did, Doctor.
So the celery wasn't there as they were escaping?
I don't think so. I think he just put that on.
Adric?
Are you sure you're up to flying the TARDIS?
Oh, I think so. In fact, I feel quite like my old self.
Well,
Yes.
well, whoever I feel like. It's absolutely splendid.
Alrighty.
So did I tell you my Mobius strip joke?
No.
All right,
Go on.
sorry. So, Mobius strip walks into a bar,
Mm-hmm.
sits down. Bartender looks
Oh.
at him, sees that he's very, very sad. Says, "What's the problem?" Mobius strip looks at the bartender and says, "Where do I begin?"
It suddenly dawned on me. I'm pretty sure you said that 3 episodes ago.
Okay, sorry. But that's what this was.
Well.
The whole town was a Mobius strip.
Well,
Or what was that guy? MC Escher, the guy who had the town where you could go up a stairway and then down the other side. That's
well.
I'm trying to think what his name was.
Alright, that is the first story with the 5th Doctor. This is alright.
This is one of those things where if it could have been concentrated into 3, so that the action would have been a little more compact, because they could have taken out a huge part of Part 2, a large part of the beginning of Part 3, and a little bit of Part 4 again. But I understand they have 4 episodes they have to fill, and they have to fill them however they can. So, that being said, for a 4 episode, it wasn't bad.
Yeah.
I like the new Doctor. He is quirky, like I think like Tom Baker was.
Yeah.
Now, we will see if he gets as quirky as Baker ultimately developed into, but you remember that first time we saw Tom Baker, he ran in and changed outfits several times, including a clown.
Yeah.
So, it's an auspicious start, in my opinion.
Yeah, so I am hoping some of that keeps up and it wasn't just the strange, regeneration mood he was in. So, overall, let's see. So this is our 5th time. And maybe, because I said in the tier list that maybe we would rank all the episodes. We're not going to rank all the episodes. But what we might do at the end of the series is do, like, a bunch of smaller tier lists of very specific things. So maybe we might do, like, let's rank every first episode. So, of the first episodes, we've now had an unearthly child, which the first part of that was good, and the rest of that was cavemen. Yeah. It was all right for a first episode.
For 1963, it was pretty good.
Yeah. The Power of the Daleks.
No, my understanding, didn't they say that the Power of the Daleks was actually filmed after? There was something about they changed around the sequence, so that's why he seemed so nondescript, or something about they couldn't figure out what they were doing, or I don't know. There seemed to be something about that one of the commenters told us that's why he doesn't seem to have as much of a personality in that one.
It could be. I'm not sure, because I know a lot of times they do these sort of out of order. I know that when we reach Kinda, that episode pretty much doesn't have Nyssa in it, because at the time they filmed that, they actually didn't... I guess they just didn't realize that they were going to have Nyssa, or just when the script was written, they didn't realize they were going to have Nyssa, so I don't know when that script was written then, since she was written into Logopolis to come back.
Yeah.
So I think they must have either filmed that or written that first, so they do stuff out of order a lot. So
because you'll remember, we thought, now, did the episode with Jamie come in right after Power of the Daleks?
Yeah.
All right. And see, that's the one where we said, well, now, there's the Doctor's personality. We really enjoyed. And for some reason, I can't remember, I thought that should have been the first one, because that would have introduced his personality. And again, there was he seemed so bland and non-reactive during Power of the Daleks.
Yeah. But they also do that with modern Doctor Who. Like, sometimes I think, like, Matt Smith's 4th episode was the first one they filmed for some reason. So I don't know. I'm not sure how the production stuff works from that. But then we had Spearhead from Space, which was
fun,
pretty solid. And then Robot, which was solid overall. Probably the best aspect of that was cementing the 4th Doctor's character.
Yeah.
And then now, Castrovalva, pretty good. Couple points where it's like, well, there's a little, you're padding a little bit, and there's only so many times we can see the Doctor just sort of out of it, but overall we've landed on the Doctor's personality by the end of Part 4, which is more than can be said for the Power of the Daleks. Yes. I take nothing back, and I give no apologies for it. So at the very least, we can say that.
Yeah.
So
right. It's, again, an auspicious start.
Yeah, so, and I guess, well, I was going to say, like, this is the first regeneration that's kind of weird. I mean, to be fair, they're all pretty weird, but I guess the regeneration from 2 to 3, that was kind of weird a little bit, because he was knocked out for a good chunk of Spearhead from Space, so.
And like from 1 to 2, when Troughton, went spinning off into space, he didn't actually reappear in Pertwee's first one. Pertwee just stumbled out of the TARDIS and fell down unconscious.
Yeah, and that's just sort of the strange, like, I'm not entirely sure why they didn't just film a regeneration between Troughton and Pertwee, but yeah. Of course, the fans have sort of, because that's so open, it's like, well, we never see Troughton regenerate into John Pertwee. You could maybe just stick in a secretive Doctor right there. And there's also, like, I think technically there are comics that, like, keep going after the War Games, where, like, the second Doctor, he gets Jamie back, and then they have some missions they have to go on, and then he regenerates. I don't know. But pretty much the rest of them, you always see the regeneration, for the most part. So yeah, with this one, he was kind of out of it for a little while. He unraveled the scarf, and it's interesting, because I thought about it, because I think I had heard something about that he unraveled the scarf, and it's like you said, it's sacrilege to say. I know from firsthand that if you say anything about the scarf, as dumb as that scarf was, you get some words about it. But I will say, That's not the iconic scarf, though.
No.
That's his red from his completely red outfit, which I didn't really care for that outfit anyway. So I'm totally fine with the Fifth Doctor just kind of tearing it up completely.
Now, I wish they had done a little bit more other than just having the hat and the coat hanging on a coat rack. I wish he could have gone into, his room or whatever, and ultimately, have something just come into his conscious where he says, all right, this is what I'm going to look like now.
Well, it's also just kind of a weird thing that he had the jacket and the hat on a random, rack in a hallway, and then he went inside what I guess is just his cricket room that he has. So, I don't know. We don't even know if that got jettisoned. So, but yeah, so he has a complete room dedicated to cricket, and that's where he came to realize. But for some reason, the jacket and the hat were outside of that room, along with a mirror. So, I don't know, but yeah, so we got his new outfit. It's not a bad outfit. I think probably, we have yet to get to the worst Doctor outfit, the horrible too many colors Doctor outfit. We'll have
coat of many colors.
Well, we'll get to that one eventually. So this one, it's nice, it's subdued, and after the last 2 Doctors, that's probably a good thing. So the only thing weird about his outfit now is the celery that he's put on his jacket. So and the question marks, because you got to have the question marks everywhere. So yeah, so that was all right. I did like the Master's plan of it's like, all right, how do I kill the Doctor? Well, I'll have to destroy the TARDIS. What can destroy the TARDIS? The Big Bang. That can destroy the TARDIS. I got it. So that was interesting. It was a good idea, and then they managed to jettison a lot of unnecessary rooms, and also the Zero room, unfortunately. So yeah. Well, I liked Castrovalva as a location, even if it was a completely, basically just made up civilization that the Master created. That was interesting. I enjoyed that. It reminded me of Logopolis, honestly. Yeah. So yeah, it's just this interesting place where they have a lot of book readers, and you have the librarian there, and now they've come up with this new religious plan called Exercise, and they'll take them out and hunt. I would say, I guess you would question why, it's like, well, how did they get food beforehand? But the answer is the Master created them somehow. I don't know how he does this, This is also one of those plans for the Master that, it's one of those complicated Master plans that I don't understand. Because, what was his end goal with Castrovalva?
I think it was just to trap the Doctor there.
I guess.
Well, and then when he thought he would be immobilized inside the Zero box coffin, what was it called?
The Zero Cabinet.
Zero Cabinet. That he would then be able to open it and kill him, but again, as a Time Lord, if you kill the Doctor, doesn't he just regenerate?
So there's the interesting thing, is normally, yes. Now, I guess if he was going to, if he was just going to go full Dracula, open up the cabinet and stab him through the heart, well, you'd have to pick one of them, first of all. In theory, I think that should allow the Doctor to regenerate. I don't know. I always get different answers on what he can regenerate from, but the other thing, and I don't know if they've really established... No, I think they have, because I think part of it is if you're still, in the process of regenerating, that first 24 hours after you regenerate, you pretty much can't die again. So, like, there's this sort of buffer, like, as it's still completing, there's still regeneration energy, and you shouldn't be hurt or killed again. And part of that is, I remember the third Doctor got shot in his first episode, and he was completely fine. So I really, I'm not sure what the Master was trying to accomplish with this.
Yeah. And then when we saw the movie, didn't the seventh Doctor get shot and then died but regenerated about an hour or so after he died?
Yes. That was it. It was that the seventh Doctor got in the middle of a gang fight or something, and then he ended up getting shot. It took him a little while because of like the anesthetic or something, and he regenerated, but I don't know. I don't remember everything about that movie, but yeah, so there should be a bit of a grace period for the fifth Doctor before he would have to regenerate again. But I don't know.
Let's just leave that as lore that we do not understand.
It's a complicated master plan that would somehow involve defeating the Doctor. And that's about as far as we can take that. So, you know, I gotta say, Adric has not been so terrible in these episodes. Like, he's been okay. It was nice not having him around, though. Like, just having Nyssa and Tegan, it kind of... It worked. It worked a lot better. So, but yeah, the Master used his mathematical excellence to his advantage and used the block transfer. Man, you know, we watched that episode 2 weeks ago, and I still don't fully understand what he's talking about with the block transfer and everything. And at the same time, everyone who watched this would have had a year since the last episode, so I don't know how they remember, unless they did a rerun of Logopolis just before this episode, which I guess is possible. And I know that was one thing, was that when they finally had Tom Baker regenerate, they were worried because it's like, well, a lot of the kids watching now, they only have known Tom Baker as the Doctor because he was on so friggin' long, 7 years. So they were like, it might not be that easy for people to accept a new Doctor. So after that, they reran a lot of older Doctor Who episodes, and I think a lot of the regeneration episodes. So that's probably how we have some of them in such good quality, like the War Games. The fact that we have that in its entirety is probably because they reran that. So, and I know that was also slightly a thing with modern Doctor Who, where like it's kind of advantageous that Christopher Eccleston only lasted one season, because it immediately put into everybody's head, oh yeah, the Doctor has to change. For this show to continue, the Doctor has to become a new person, and you have to accept that. And even though a lot of people loved Christopher Eccleston, I loved Christopher Eccleston in the performance, but right at the end of that first season, he changes into David Tennant. It's like, okay, we understand the concept, we're good now. And then about at least 3 seasons later, about 3 or 4 years later, David Tennant regenerates, and half the fandom is okay with it, and the other half, well, you got half of them, and it's okay. So, but I think they even made a joke about that with Matt Smith, because there were so many people that still want them to bring David Tennant back to Doctor Who.
No, the Night of the Doctor and the Day of the Doctor didn't happen. They, although theoretically happened before Christopher Eccleston, they actually were written and filmed much later than that.
Right.
Okay. Right.
Yeah. So that was always the thing, is where you could fit in another secret Doctor would be between 8 and 9, which they did, because you never saw the regeneration from the 8th Doctor to the 9th Doctor. So then they finally filled that in. Well, we can throw in one last regeneration in there as the War Doctor, and then they show that you get 8 into War, and then War into 9, and then it goes from there. But there were definitely... I mean, even that... But that is definitely still a problem with modern Doctor Who, is when a Doctor leaves, there's a lot in the fan base that really don't want them to leave, and they'd rather... Especially now, too, because it's like... I think even, like, to this day, there were still people out there that were like, they should just bring David Tennant back. And it's like, they should... I want to put this on record. They shouldn't bring David Tennant back to be the new Doctor. And I want to stress this very specifically for the fan base. The good news is we do have a new guy coming in. So... And that's a whole mess in modern Doctor Who that I'm going to have to get to in November. Which I also thought about. I had you watch the 50th anniversary. I didn't even think about, like, am I going to have you watch the 60th anniversary? I don't know. You're going to be like... I mean, eventually you will get there if we go through modern Doctor Who, but I don't know, because I didn't think that through. But... Because back when I had you do the 50th anniversary, I had somebody making a schedule for me. Yeah. Now I'm doing it on my own, so... I don't know. I'll have to think. Apparently Neil Patrick Harris is going to be in the 60th anniversary. I think he's going to be like the main villain, and everybody is speculating that he might be the Celestial Toymaker, so... Anywho.
Where were we?
The Portreeve, I really do wonder... It must have been that right in that moment is when they switched to the Master. Because otherwise, like, I'm pretty sure that was a different guy. Yeah. So, but I do love that now we're trained to, like, anytime we see a really old guy, we have to, like, look and be like, I think that's Anthony Ainley. I'm not sure. So, I think it was his eyebrows, too. Like, his eyebrows were particularly, like, darker compared to the old the Portreeve. So it's kind of like that. It's kind of like the Patrick Stewart effect, where like this is a dumb thing to think, but I think one problem with like Star Trek Picard or something like that is Patrick Stewart doesn't have his darker eyebrows anymore, and I think that gave a lot of like sternness to Captain Picard. So I think that's also part of it, is as soon as you see, like, you can't disguise Anthony Ainley's eyebrows. So, how long are we going? We should wrap up soon, because I'm not making any sense anymore.
Pardon us for battling.
Yeah. I mean, there's more, but we pretty much talked about all the rest of it. The recursion, it was a good effect, seeing all the different things.
Yeah, it was interesting when each of them said, well, my pharmacy is here, and it's here. And it's like they began to see it. So they couldn't visually see it, but it began to sink into their minds. Wait a minute, how can it be here, there, and there when there's only one?
Yeah, it's as soon as somebody can point it out to you, then you really start to think about it. So yeah, that was good. And you're right, I did like the joke when the Doctor says, so which way is the way out? And they all point different directions, like, well, that's democracy for you, and he walks away. See, that's where, like, in that moment, I'm like, okay, I think we can be good with this Doctor. So yeah. You got anything else?
I got nothing.
Alrighty, next up...
Is it... Oh.
Ford Doomsday.
I thought we were going to watch Kinda. How far away is that?
That's the story after that. So not next story, but the next story after that will be rewatching Kenda with an open mind, I mean,
we'll also understand more now that it's been not certainly explained, but people have simply said, hey, here's kind of what they were thinking of. So with that in mind, perhaps it will, not that it'll make more sense. I don't think it's supposed to make sense. But we will be able to endure it with more patience and not just go, what the hell was that?
To the credit of Kinda, it was at least more visually interesting than Warrior's Gate, which was just nothing. But Warrior's Gate did have those two guys in there that were kind of funny. Yeah. So that's like the one like plus That's the thing that makes it not a 0% in Warriors Gate is those two funny guys. So, and with all that being said, because I'm clearly tired and I can't think anymore, and I clearly shouldn't be recording episodes today, we're Alex and Dad from 7th Hour Films, and we will see you guys next time. Take care. Alright guys, thanks for watching this video. There's a bunch of links on screen if you want to go click around any of those. There's a playlist for all of our Doctor Who classic reactions, as well as another playlist for all of my modern Doctor Who reactions if you want to go check those out. There's also a subscribe button and a Patreon button on screen, as well as other links in the description if you want to go check out any of those. See you guys later.